All right, today we are going to unmask a silent culprit, a condition that's hiding behind some of the biggest health challenges we face. It's called insulin resistance. And you know, it's incredibly common, but most people don't really understand it. So let's dive into what it is and why it matters so much.
So, let me just start by asking you a question. What hidden condition, one that often has zero symptoms in the beginning, affects a huge chunk of the population? I mean, we are talking about nearly 4 out of every 10 adults in the United States. Any guesses?
Yep, 40%. Just let that number sink in for a second. It's a massive statistic for a condition that a lot of people haven't even heard of, and yet it plays this absolutely central role in our metabolic health.
And that condition is insulin resistance. So what is it? Well, at its core, it means your body's cells are kind of getting deaf to the signals from insulin. You see, insulin is this crucial hormone that manages your blood sugar. When your cells stop listening to it, well, that's when a whole cascade of problems gets set off. To really wrap your head around what's happening, down at the cellular level, we're going to use a really simple but powerful analogy. I want you to think of it as your body having a change lock.
So here's how it works. In a healthy body, insulin is like a key. It floats through your bloodstream, goes up to a cell, and it unlocks it. That lets glucose, which is your body's main fuel, get inside for energy. When it's all working smoothly, it's this beautiful, efficient system. But with insulin resistance, something goes wrong with that lock. Over time, certain kinds of fat molecules can build up inside the cell, and they basically gunk up the whole mechanism. This gunk stops the insulin key from fitting in the lock properly. So the door stays shut, glucose gets locked out of the cell, and it has nowhere to go, so it starts to build up in your blood.
And this one tiny, faulty lock at the cellular level? Oh, it doesn't stay a small problem. It creates this massive ripple effect that turns it into a major threat to global health. That buildup of sugar in the blood creates a domino effect, and it leads to a whole host of really serious conditions. I mean, think about it. When your body can't manage its own fuel correctly, it puts this incredible strain on all your organs. It paves the way for everything from type 2 diabetes and heart disease to fatty liver disease. This isn't some minor issue. It's like a central hub for chronic disease.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. Dr. Gerald Schulman over at Yale, who's a leading researcher in this field, he calls insulin resistance, and I'm quoting here, one of the major threats to global health in the 21st century. That's a pretty heavy statement, and it really underscores just how critical this is. Okay, so that's the problem. It's big, it's serious. But here is the good news, the really good news. For a lot of people, this is not a life sentence. So let's pivot and talk about the toolkit for actually reversing it. And we're going to focus on the most evidence-backed strategies out there.
You know, the foundation for fighting back is actually a pretty clear 4-step action plan. And the best part? You don't need a prescription for any of it. It's about getting more physical activity, changing what you eat, making sure you get enough sleep, and managing your stress. These 4 pillars, they are your most powerful weapons.
Let's zoom in a little bit on rethinking your plate, because what you eat is absolutely crucial. The goal isn't just to cut calories, it's to change the quality of those calories. This means way more fiber from things like fruits, veggies, and whole grains. It means prioritizing healthy fats from avocados, nuts, olive oil, and of course, getting lean proteins from fish and legumes. And the big one, reducing those ultra-processed foods that can send your blood sugar on a wild roller coaster. Now, beyond what you eat every day, there's a ton of talk about a specific eating pattern, intermittent fasting. So let's investigate this. Is it a promising lead? Let's see what the science actually says. So here's the big question. Can just restricting when you eat, not only what you eat, can that actually move the needle on insulin resistance? Instead of just going off of anecdotes you hear online, let's look directly at the hard data from a major scientific review. And the results are pretty compelling. A big meta-analysis from 2022, which pulled together data from a whole bunch of studies, found some really significant improvements. On average, people saw a drop in body weight of over 4 pounds, a reduction in waist circumference, and here's the most important part, a significant drop in something called HOMA-IR. That's the score doctors use to measure insulin resistance. And trust me, a lower number is exactly what you want to see. All right, let's switch gears. What about the whole world of supplements? I mean, you see them everywhere, marketed to help with blood sugar and insulin sensitivity. But is it hope, or is it all just hype? Let's try and assess the often very murky evidence. So here's where we see this huge gap between what people believe and what science can actually prove.
For some of the most popular supplements out there, we're talking omega-3s, vitamin C, chromium, a massive 2022 review of all the best studies came to a blunt conclusion. The scientific verdict was, and this is a direct quote, very low certainty evidence. Basically, that means that despite what you might hear, top researchers have very little confidence that they actually do anything for this purpose.
In fact, the conclusion of that giant review couldn't have been any clearer. They state that high-quality evidence is, quote, lacking and currently insufficient to support their use in a clinical context. What that's telling us is that for now, supplements are just not a reliable primary strategy for tackling insulin resistance.
And that brings us right to our final, and honestly, our most important takeaway. The most powerful strategy here isn't about chasing symptoms, trying to lower high blood sugar with one pill or another. It's about going after the root cause of the problem, that faulty lock, the insulin resistance itself. By focusing on those lifestyle changes that directly improve how your cells respond to insulin, you're not just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. You're working to reverse it at its very core. And that is the real key to long-term metabolic health.